being here. I'm Ben Kraus, the Chair of the Jerome County Commissioners. I just wanted to start off by reminding everybody that when we left last, we were actually in a recess part of our discussion. So that's where we're picking up tonight. We had ended the evidentiary part of the hearing, had gone into our discussion, talked about how we felt about the appeal, about the evidence that was presented. So at this point, we're convening back to continue our discussion. To start off, we had a motion that was made to reopen the record that was presented to us. So we'll start off with our discussion by talking about that. The motion basically asked us to open back up the hearing to submit the information that we thought was lacking. We've first of all, we've reviewed the motion to reopen, and we've discussed it procedurally, and with the implications it might have with our legal counsel. So we're prepared to have a little discussion and explanation about that conversation as well. In particular, decision was made on an application that we felt was incomplete at the time that it was considered, and the record cannot be retroactively corrected at the appellate level. Anything you gentlemen would like to add?
Basically, I concur with that part. The procedural defect concerns the completeness of the application at the time it was acted upon by the commission, not the contents of the appellate record, ours. The board does find outright reversal and full denial of GPT's application unnecessary, as it would be fundamentally unfair. Well, that's my other part, but yes, I agree that reopening the record does not solve the issue of an incomplete application presented to the planning and zoning board.
Okay.
And I also agree that opening the record does not accomplish what it was meant to be.
So I'll just reiterate then that it sounds like, based on our findings, based on our discussion, the evidence that was presented, that it was an incomplete record and should not have been approved to move forward. Any other board discussion about that?
No.
No.
Then I would move to deny GPT's motion to reopen the record, with the understanding that the zoning commission, the planning and zoning commission will have to address the Jerome Highway District matter upon a remand back to it under consideration.
I believe the motion is recorded in the findings of facts and conclusions of law, and it states it there on page 12 of the decision, written decision, if we do agree with written decision, that based on those facts, the motion to reopen the record is denied.
Okay. So that would be part of our written decision?
Yes.
And be in the single motion then?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Then let's move on to did you have anything else?
No.
Okay, then let's move on to the discussion of the written decision. And by the way, as Charlie mentioned, it is about 14 pages long, and we'll have copies available and can also email it as well. So, has everybody had an opportunity to review the written decision?
I have, yes.
I have.
Yes.
And for the audience, just so you know that based on our discussion, our attorney wrote up the decision, and then we more or less proofread it to make sure that we agreed with its intent and with the way that it was written. So basically, I guess the next question, are there any changes, clarifications, or?
I think there were a few grammatical errors in spelling, I was taken care of by staff earlier. So what we have is a draft in front of us, but basically it says the same thing.
Okay.
And I do like the part of the written section on page 9 where it says that the section provides an applicant, and that was what was the key word. Provides an applicant shall include documentation indicating response quote using the word quote shall, which in Idaho law denotes a mandatory duty. Then the examples listed in the text are not generic. They are explicit references to written letters from specific authorities evaluating distinct impacts. This phrasing indicates that ordinance contemplates actual written responses, not merely verification. The applicant attempted a response from the agencies. The inclusion of the fifth phase indicating response further suggests an expectation of a subsequent reply rather than a record of unanswered correspondence. And that was part of what I argued earlier, that I felt that intent and the meaning of the law had been met by the record stating that they had had a meeting and sent a letter to them as well. So, but also was noticed in the record previously, I changed my mind and agreed with Commissioner Kraus that when it says shall, it says mean shall. Therefore, I'm in favor of denying that the application is, or agreeing that the application is incomplete and upholding the appeal.
Okay. I do, that's the same decision I made in the discussion that we had a couple weeks ago, and that is that, we did find that we need more documentation and need to go back and make sure that, that things are done right. I might add that when it goes back, that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, that it would also include new notice, opportunity for comment, and hearing.
Yeah, I mean, sort of explain that what you're doing is gonna remand it back, basically open it back up for, comment, new notice, new comment, new hearing in front of the PAC on that sole issue of Iowa District's comments.
Okay. So with that, it would be remanded back to planning and zoning. Any other discussions or thoughts?
No, I just wanted to say that I had a different thought, and I did not see shall and interpret it the same way. So I am also, in agreement to remanding it back to planning and zoning board.
Okay. Very good.
I don't know if it helps explain it too, but like on that first page, I know you got that document, the alternative procedure, but
Yeah.
really the matter of opening up the record versus just sending it back on that issue kind of has the same practical effect as what we decided. That, either open up the record, new notice, new comment, and new hearing on the Jerome Heights District issue, or send it back to the PNC, which is where it should be on that same issue, so.
Okay. And I can read it here. Sending the matter back to the zoning commission for limited reconsideration of the Jerome Highway District issue will have the same practical effect as reopening the record. New notice, opportunity for comment and hearing, but it will be done by the proper decision-making body. This approach maintains the procedural integrity as the zoning commission is the body taxed under the Jerome County zoning ordinance with creating and evaluating the evidentiary record. Any other discussion?
No, and I had wondered about that when we asked where we go from here, and that was, I took my experience of previous remands. We had remand on capital, and it was remanded by the courts back to the county commissioners, because we were the final ruling authority, so I do agree with the procedure of remanding it back to the people that have that decision, which is the planning and zoning.
I agree too.
Okay.
With that then, I will, make a motion to approve and sign the written decision as presented, directing staff to file and distribute the finalized findings of fact, conclusions of law, and order in accordance with the Jerome County Ordinance 23-4.02.
Second?
Is there any other discussion?
No.
No.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,